It's time!
What's kicking, everybody? We are back for another episode of Picking Fights. I'm Keith, joined as always by Tom. Tom, how are you, my man?
Doing well. Happy Monday evening. We're meeting weekly to go over, we haven't had a break in the UFC for a while. They always go like the 4-week break over the holidays and the turn of the new year, have like a show, a break, and then blister and pace from there on out for a while. So UFC 313 on the docket. Excited about this card. A little change to the co-main a couple days ago, but how you doing before we get into that?
Well, I'm definitely disappointed about the change to the co-main, but I'm doing well. Yeah, we'll talk more about it. Just know Dan Hooker was supposed to fight, and he's a guy that fights injured a lot, and so I think it had to be something super serious, and the doctors told him he couldn't fight for him to have to check out of this one early. But yeah, we got Rafael Fiziev in there instead, or Rafael. But yeah, I'm excited for that one anyway. All right, you want to dive into our prelim notables?
Sure, let's go ahead and do it.
All right, what do we got first on the docket?
Armen Petrosyan and Bruno Ferreira. What do you think?
This is a tight one. It's a really tough competition. Both of these guys are pretty solid and have fought really solid competition. Is a little bit more aggressive, and he's got a little bit more power in his hands. And Armen Petrosyan tries to fight a little bit more at distance and counter a lot, and leaves his chin high and exposed quite often. And Bruno Ferreira's he's going to charge him down a couple times in this fight and land some heavy shots, lots of big overhands. He's pretty creative, not as creative as the guy that just knocked out Armen Petrosyan, Shara Magomed, but it's he's a tough challenge for Armen. So I'm going to take Bruno Ferreira. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Bruno Ferreira. Armen Petrosyan is a guy who is a strong kickboxer, but he's just not a finisher. And Bruno Ferreira is, especially at this point in his career. Only 2 years separate them, but I feel like Ferreira is, in his prime and up and coming, whereas Armen Petrosyan, we've maybe seen the best version of him that we're going to see, or at least we have an idea of what to expect when Armen Petrosyan steps in there. He is 8-4. 2 of his wins are Christian Leroy Duncan and AJ Dobson. Decision victories over, a year and a half ago. 2 losses against Adolfo Vieira by submission and Shara Magomed by that nasty spinning TKO knockout. To go against a heavy hitter like Bruno Ferreira is like one of the worst things I think you can come back up against. He had, obviously Brazilian, going to have a strong grappling background, a little bit shorter there. Sometimes it's harder to grapple with that if Armen Petrosyan was going to. He's a major kickboxer as well. I think Bruno Ferreira, he could chew up the legs a little bit, but aside from being able to do that, I think Ferreira is going to go out there and land a big overhand, throw hard punches, and end up coming away with the victory in this one. So, yeah, I would go Bruno Ferreira by knockout at plus 135. I think it's a good pick here. Everyone in Tapology thinking the same. I actually didn't really even look at that until fairly recently. But, yeah, I think Ferreira by knockout might be the play here at plus 135 just to win. I think that's a good bet.
Yeah, I like it a lot. What do we got next?
Curtis Blaydes, Rizvan Kuniev.
Oh, what do you think about this one?
So this one, I'm actually also excited for at plus 250 for Rizvan Kuniev. 13-2-1. He hasn't officially made his UFC debut yet. He's been in the Contender Series twice. Right before this fight, he was also on the Contender Series, picked up the victory in the first round. Didn't get entered into, didn't get the UFC contract and got a knockout shortly thereafter. Oh, here was the Contender Series, like I said. TKO knockout after coming from Eagle FC. Still didn't make it to the UFC. Back to Eagle FC, submission by guillotine choke. Beat Renan Ferreira in a 3-round decision in the PFL, his first fight there. Then gets suspended for 3 different steroids a year and 10 months ago. Comes into the Contender Series here, wins again, and now he's fighting Curtis Blaydes as his entry fight. We already talked about people who are rookies to the UFC having a difficult time in that first official UFC fight and having to take on Curtis Blaydes when, that is certainly not the level that you're used to. Curtis Blaydes is going to have an answer for grappling, and we've seen him have some pretty good striking and knockout power, and to boot. So I'm going with Curtis Blaydes against a guy who, had a lot of his success on steroids. Now, after having popped, we'll see where he goes. 31 years old, rookie into the UFC, rookie fight here. I'm going with Curtis Blaydes. I think it's a smart pick. He's minus 330. It's where everybody is. I like Curtis Blaydes to get the finish.
Yeah, I think you absolutely have to go Curtis Blaydes by knockout in this one because, first of all, how do you debut in the UFC against, what is he, in the top 3? Isn't Curtis Blaydes ranked 3 as a heavyweight? He's up there.
Probably.
One of the best heavyweights in the UFC. It's not a super rich division, but he's up there. He's fought some great guys, beat some great guys, beat Jalin Almeida, a couple other, excellent heavyweights. I think it's just going to be a showcase for Curtis Blaydes. I got him to finish him early, most likely by knockout. He's got really good hands. Everybody knows him as a wrestler.
Number 5.
Okay, so number 5 in the heavyweight. But he's awesome with his hands as well as his wrestling game, but I don't think he's going to need to wrestle at all. I think he's going to knock this dude out. So, yeah, give me Curtis Blaydes.
It's interesting. Like, I don't know who Derek Lewis is fighting or what he's got next on his docket, but, like, I would imagine like a Derek Lewis type character is who he would get first, not a Curtis Blaydes, someone who's dominant at what Rizvan Kuniev is, and someone who's as established. Number 5 to start.
Yeah, who is he scheduled to fight originally? Martin Buday?
I don't know. It wasn't for this card.
No, yeah.
Not for this. Looking at the canceled fights, he's not on here, right?
Oh, I thought he was booked to fight somebody previously.
He was booked to fight Curtis Blaydes, I think, previously. And then that you saw that there. This isn't killing you. He was first Martin Buday.
Right. He was first scheduled to fight Martin Buday. That's a big jump in competition from him to Curtis Blaydes.
And then Curtis Blaydes gets rescheduled, 2-3 weeks later. So interesting fight here. I like it for Curtis Blaydes to get the job done.
Yeah, me too. I like it a lot. All right, is that it for our prelim?
My bad.
Oh, no, I was just asking if that was it for our prelim notables.
Those ones, 2 main ones.
Yeah, Bobby Green versus Mauricio Ruffy. Right, Ruffy.
Ruffy, maybe? Ruffy?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll see if I get a pronunciation while you tell us about this one. What do you think?
Fighting nerds are undefeated in the UFC so far. I think that carries on through this fight. I think Ruffy knocks out Bobby Green. He's too slick, too smooth. Old school McGregor, just in, a more athletic body. Makes it look really good. And Bobby Green is really good striking as well. I just don't think his boxing is – he's also very old. His boxing is not going to be able to compete with the kickboxing style of Mauricio or Mauricio. I don't know. They're Brazilian, all right? And ours are kind of weird in Portuguese. So it could be like a huh or a r noise. But anyways, yeah, he's really good. And fighting nerds are undefeated. So I think that's going to continue. That streak's going to keep going. His style is superior. He's faster, younger. Bobby Green's awesome, but he's not going to be able to keep up. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I spent basically that entire time looking at how to pronounce it phonetically. Mauricio Ruffy is what I was able to discern. Anyway, I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going with him to get this one done over King Green. Bobby Green, King Green, feels weird to call him King Green, but Bobby Green's a guy who just, he is going to go out there and try to put on a show. He's not somebody who's going to, sometimes, but not really. I feel like sometimes we've seen him like kind of wave the white flag a little bit. And in a similar way as, who am I thinking of? It doesn't matter. I think sometimes King Green waves the white flag and we don't necessarily get the best version of him all the time, although the best version of him is very good. We've seen a lot of cracks in that chin where he's been able to, previously take a lot of strikes. Now he's not really able to take those as much. He is kind of an old 38 in the game. He's still fairly quick. He's still definitely unorthodox, but I think a lot of, people have started to figure him out, especially as of late. I know he is 3-2 over his last 5, But, against Paddy Pimblett, the submission there. He has a win over Jim Miller, which was a really good back and forth fight. But Jim Miller's, well into his 40s there. Jalen Turner not by knockout, win over Grant Dawson, and, submitted Tony Ferguson. You can't really count the Tony Ferguson fight. So I think, Bobby Green is solid, but I think Mauricio or Ruffy, that's what we're rolling with at 11-1, 5-0 over his last five, minus 550. The younger guy here by 10 years. And he's coming down in weight. So granted, if he can make 155 pounds, he's definitely going to have a lot more strength. Being 28, being the bigger guy. My only question is he going to be able to make that weight? And if it goes into the third round at 155 pounds, are we going to have an issue there? But, he's got a unanimous decision over James Lintop, and I believe that knocked out Jamie Malarkey, knocked out Raymond Magomed, whatever, you get it, in the Contender Series. So I'm going to go with Mauricio Ruffy to get this one done here. What do you think?
Love it. Love it. Great pick.
That's it?
Well, I already said my piece before.
Oh, fair enough. All right. My bad. Well, here you go.
Yeah, I got Iasmin Lucindo beating Amanda Lemos. Younger by a long shot. She's a little bit more creative on her feet, stronger hands. Amanda Lemos has been around a while, but she just lost to Virna Jandiroba, and that catapulted Virna pretty high up. I don't know. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I'm. So Amanda Lemos has had some success. She's also had some losses. Most recently, Virna Jandiroba submission by armbar 7 months ago, taking a little bit of time off. At 37 years old, I think we start to see a worsening version of Amanda Lemos every time out, whereas Iasmin Lucindo is the opposite. At only 23, we're seeing a better version. You can see she's got this lock to Iasmin Uruguay. 2.5 years later, I still remember that fight clear as day. It was a back and forth battle between these two young women who are, I think, 23 and 24 respectively. 2.5 years ago, they were very young into the sport and into the UFC. And then victories over Broken Walker by decision, Polyana Viana by submission. Polyana Viana, that is not an insignificant win. She's got a unanimous decision win over Carolina Kolkiewicz, who is still tricky, and Marina Rodriguez, which she won by split decision. I think this is a young fighter who's constantly getting better against Amanda Lemos. She's been around the block, yes, but her losses to Zhang Wei Li and Virna Jandiroba, certainly that's a step down in competition, and to lose to both of them, you go from fighting Zhang Wei Li to a decision to a year and a half later losing by submission to Virna Jandiroba. She's absolutely still a threat, but I think Iasmin Lucindo is just a lot stronger of a fighter. She's on her way up, and I think she's already had some really good competition and came out on the better side of it. So I expect her to go in there and be scrappy and find a way to get this one done. Not to say she's going to totally run over Amanda Lemos, but I'm going to side with Iasmin Lucindo to get this one done here.
Excellent analysis. Very well done.
Thank you, sir.
Next up, we got Ignacio Bahamondes versus Jalen Turner. I like Ignacio Bahamondes in this one. This is a very tight one. This is going to be a fun fight. But Ignacio's got a lot of momentum right now in the UFC. Jalen Turner, I just will always have a hard time trusting him after that Renato Moicano loss that he took not too long ago. And then he lost to, that was his most recent loss 10 months ago. That was a wild one. He tried to get a big bonus at UFC 300 with a walk-off KO. And Renato Moicano was not pronounced out of the fight. And then he got back up and won. And ever since then, I've just questioned Jalen Turner and his fight IQ. He does not make a lot of sense. A lot of things that he does are very questionable. Whereas Ignacio Bahamondes is more of a sniper. He's got an excellent kickboxing game. His kicking game is incredible. Lots of fun spinning kicks. Very creative guy. He's awesome with his kick. Excellent. But last fight against Manuel Torres is great. The knockout he had over Christos Giagos is great. He did lose to Ludovic Klein, not a big deal. Trey Ogden, Rong Zhu, that was a big submission for him. Rong Zhu is no joke. And Jalen Turner's kind of fallen off a bit. His last significant win was against Bobby Green, and then before that, Brad Riddell 2 years ago. So he hasn't been super active, and he hasn't been victorious as of late. Give me Ignacio Bahamondes to really flex those kicks against the taller, lengthier opponent, Jalen Turner. What do you think?
It's a close one, and I was looking at the UFC stats too, which, I maybe sway a little bit Jalen Turner, but 14-8, 16-5, a little bit longer fights for Ignacio Bahamondes. Absolutely the same.
I just need to correct myself. I'm sorry, bro. Yo, they're both the same size. I always just assume that Jalen Turner is bigger than everybody, but these guys are the same size, and Jalen Turner is not even good against people significantly smaller than him. So that's just another thing I want to add is that the kicking game is really going to be there for Ignacio Bahamondes. Both 6'3", 7'5", 5. I'm sorry, I didn't want to forget about.
No, you can highlight that too. I was going to say that UFC stats gives him a 2-inch reach advantage for Jalen Turner, but even then, I don't think that's that significant when they're both 6'3", 75 inches in terms of reach. I would love to see what their leg reach is here. Ignacio Bahamondes, like you said, is I think a lot more technical, and looking at some of these stats here, he has more strikes landed per minute, striking accuracy just about the same, strikes absorbed about the same, a little bit better defense here, not going for takedowns, but 85% takedown defense. I don't know that Jalen Turner is going to even go for one, but if he does, he's not going to necessarily have a lot of success there, or at least a strong advantage. I like Ignacio Bahamondes. He's a little bit younger here, and I just have a feeling that even though Jalen Turner is coming off a loss and looking to really do well here, I just have a slight leaning to Bahamondes. I think we might see a slide for Jalen Turner, but at the same time, Bahamondes, I feel like Manuel Torres and Christos Giagos are not necessarily, competition to the level of Jalen Turner, and he is a little bit of a puzzle. He is, sometimes hard to hit when he brings it. He's got, another guy who's like a little bit streaky, but you got to remember, like, he's got some really impressive knockouts. He went in there, split decision against Mateusz Gamrot. Mateusz Gamrot is at the top of the division. Dan Hooker split decision there. I think he just kind of embraced the Dan Hooker and threw hands a little bit. But if he fights smart, like he did against King Green, where he just totally outmaneuvered him, I think he's absolutely got a shot, but I just have to side slightly with Ignacio a little bit, just a little bit. It's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, he's too quick. Co-main event, we have Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Is this still a 5-rounder like it was supposed to be against Dan Hooker? Is this now a 3-rounder?
Where would Typology tell me that?
I think maybe
yes,
at the top.
No, it's 3 5-minute rounds.
Oh, okay. That's unfortunate. Well, I understand because Rafael Fiziev is coming in on this one short notice. After Dan Hooker was hurt or got injured or whatever happened with him. This one's going to be a banger. It's going to be a slugfest. The last time that they fought was also a slugfest. I don't know why Justin Gaethje, at least on Tapology, is listed as a slight underdog. If that's the case, absolutely. I love it. I love that bet. Bet responsibly. It's a really nice one. It's a gift line because I think he's going to go out there and beat Rafael Fiziev again. He hasn't really had a top 10 win, Fiziev, and I don't think it comes against Justin Gaethje, not at this stage in his career. That knockout that he suffered against Max Holloway was a tough one. That was after 25 minutes, basically, of just abuse. That's not going to occur against Fiziev this weekend. I think he's going to go out there and put on another performance like he did the last time, and maybe catch him with something interesting like a wild head kick or a rolling thunder, like he's caught people with in the past, namely Dustin Poirier in his last big win. So give me Justin Gaethje. I like him a lot this week, and he's been training, and Fiziev's coming in on short notice too. What do you think? I think you're muted.
Looking back here at the history here of Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev, another 3 5-minute rounds, fight of the night, majority decision ended up going to Justin Gaethje. Was that fight? That fight wasn't on short notice, right? That was planned.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was because that was like talked about for a while.
Yeah. So, coming in both, I think then you got to kind of give the edge there to Justin Gaethje. Although both these guys, they're going to go out there, they're going to freaking scrap. So you can never really pick it, I guess, too far. I guess if I was a super smart man, I would maybe say that Fiziev is more likely to have his chin hold up probably in a firefight against Justin Gaethje at this point in his career. Justin Gaethje, like you said, had that insane knockout, or was it knocked out insanely by Max Holloway. Coming in on short notice, I think your only option here is for Fiziev to knock him out because I don't know if I would expect his gas tank to be able to, withstand, a total onslaught by Justin Gaethje, a guy who's been training. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna go. Screw it. What are the odds here? We have odds -130, slight favorite. Fiziev, 69% is on Tapology. I think at plus money, I would go for Gaethje. But to be honest with you, I think it's more like 50-50, which so I would kind of go Gaethje, but I don't know. Like maybe I would side a little bit younger guy. Fiziev comes in, say screw it, throws caution to the wind, and eventually catches Justin Gaethje. How long ago was that fight with Holloway? 10 months ago. So I mean, significant time to recover. But he's got a lot of CT to begin with. You know what I mean? And I don't know. This is such a tough fight. Super close. I guess it makes more sense to go with Gaethje, who had been training and had won the previous fight. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Rafael Fiziev. Screw it. I think
All right. Well,
crazy shit could happen.
Yeah, that if something could happen. I believe that's the first pick that we diverge on, and it's interesting that it's this fight.
And
I'm
only
definitely
reason is like how many times do we be like, oh yeah, like I think this guy's gonna win and have super sound logic for it, and then it's just not it. Like like he should win, all of the stars are kind of align that he should win. So that's why I'm feeling like Fiziev will win.
I respect the logic there. That's we've seen that happen plenty of times, but I feel like it's got to be Justin Gaethje in this one. The line is too close. I think the only thing that would make that theory make more sense, like if it would have to happen like that, is if Justin Gaethje was like a huge favorite or something in this fight, but he's not. It's so close, and I think he just pulls out a really like violent, nice W. He's a hard guy to put to sleep.
He is. Yeah.
45 minutes of Max Holloway like just beating the crap out of him for him to finally go out. And he's going to be in good shape. He's going to be healthy. He took 10 months off.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got the right team behind him that knows how long he needed to be off for, like the Trevor Whitman camp and everything. And they really do prepare them well for fights. We haven't seen Kamaru in a while. And Rose is off like in the desert. So it's pretty much
Well,
just.
we saw Kamaru, he fared well against Kamzat. So
Yeah, that was in like 2023. That's a while ago now.
But to speak to how well they prepare people.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying more to the point that he's like got to be their main focus unless he's got more years under his tutelage now. It's just got to be Justin Gaethje and Trevor Whitman a lot of the time, and Justin Gaethje has been sparring a lot too. There's a lot of good sparring footage of him right now. So yeah, I'm still going with Gaethje. Then we got the main event. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. This is a tough one. I always get worried at this stage in a fighter's career, like somebody that I really, really like. Like I'm a huge Volk fan. A lot of these guys that are super, and then like I've come to like Izzy as time has gone on. Like I appreciated him more as a champion now. Kamaru Usman is another guy like that. That when they're gone and they're done being the champ, it's tough. But they always run into this thing where they're so dominant for so long, and then one guy comes along and he's the new dominant guy. I just don't think it's going to be Magomed Ankalaev. But if there was anybody that could do it, it would unfortunately be him because he's a pretty well-rounded fighter. I think a big difference maker for Poatan in this fight is going to be his leg kick. He's got that really sneaky leg kick. And we saw Magomed's leg get chewed up by Jan Blachowicz. This is a 5-round fight. That fight ended in a draw. But when you start getting worried about the legs, you can't let your guard down, when you're fighting Alex Pereira. And the second you're starting to get worried about the leg kick and that's what you're focusing on, you're going to eat a quick 1-2 or a nasty left hook and your lights are going to get shut off real quick. I just don't know if he's going to wrestle. There's the whole thing that he's a Russian wrestler, but he doesn't really wrestle as much as you think he would if that was the case. He stands and bangs with a lot of people. And we haven't seen Alex Pereira have to like defensively wrestle in a while. Nobody's really tried to take him down in the light heavyweight division. I don't know how he would fare against that, if he would be able to get back up and get to his feet and then make it a competitive fight for him again. I'm going to take Pereira. I'm going to go with Alex Pereira. I'm going to take Poatan. I just feel like he's going to keep winning, and then he's got to fight Jan Blachowicz again. There's a lot of good fights that are still yet to be made in this light heavyweight division involving him, but it's one of those sneaky ones where the title reign could come to an end out of nowhere. I don't know. What do you think? He is 37. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, so he's got the uppercut to Johnny Walker, who is a very loose and hittable opponent. No contest, Johnny Walker. I think that was an eye poke. Split decision with Jan Blachowicz. Ground and pound at Anthony Smith and Jan Kutalaba. But you have all these guys who, are going to decisions with him. Jan is kind of a sloppy fighter. Anthony Smith, not a sloppy fighter, but, definitely not, I'm not taking Anthony Smith any day of the week with Alex Pereira. You know what I mean? Decent showing against Jan Blachowicz, was very tentative in that fight. Both of those guys, I think, just wasn't. Anyway, Johnny Walker, super, loose, hittable guy, knocked him out. And then Alexander Rakic, a guy who we won against. But, against these guys who just have better kickboxing and better defense, he's not going and getting the knockout. And I think it's only a matter of time before Poatan eventually connects with him. And power's the last thing to leave you. And we know he's got that quick hook. And like you said, he's got the quick hook and the leg kicks. So you got to pick one to focus on. And if you end up focusing on the leg kicks for even a split second, that's when you get knocked out. And one thing I wanted to point out here is strikes absorbed per minute, 2.37. He does get hit. His defense is 58. It's a little bit better than Magomed Ankalaev is, but we've seen him in there with some of the best and not get knocked out. Izzy, he did, but he dropped his hands and started getting wild. And I think he felt really comfortable with Izzy in that fight. I think he's a lot more technical now and a lot more patient. Look at what happened with Jamal Hill. He just pushed the ref aside, fake, boom, knocked him out. I think he can decide anytime he wants. He's going to be faster. He's going to have more power. And I just think that Ankalaev gets hit a little bit too much to survive. He doesn't have necessarily a super strong grappling game to fall back on. And I totally hear you that at one point the wheels are going to fall off. But I'm going to ride the train till the wheels fall off kind of thing. So, I'm with Poatan here, and I don't know that Magomed Ankalaev is the guy to get it done. I don't know if the skills line up for him.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And definitely like that Jan Blachowicz fight, it was a draw. It was not an active at all. It was just I think Jan Blachowicz won that one because of how badly he beat up Ankalaev's leg. Ankalaev could not walk midway through that fight and was basically like falling over himself. And he's got really tough leg kicks. Poatans are tough as well. They're just so sneaky. He came to a draw with Jan Blachowicz, he won a split decision against Jan Blachowicz, a very tight split decision on the judges' scorecards. That fight, I mean, they have to fight again. That was a tough one. He actually should fight both guys, Jan Blachowicz, once more because he's gotten screwed by the judges recently. But I think that it's going to be a similar result after all of Alex Pereira's leg kicks. It's going to leave Ankalaev stumbling, bumbling, and he's not going to look great. And that'll expose him to a lot of the stuff upstairs that Poatan's going to bring to him. Maybe we see a head kick knockout because he's going to be like so worried about a kick coming low, and it's going to come over the top and just cream him. I could see that happening. He got Yuri Prohashka with one. I just hope Ankalaev doesn't try to just wrestle and make it a disinteresting fight, but we'll see.
One thing I want to see is if we look at Ankalaev, 53 strikes landed by Rakic, even 24 by Walker, 14 here, Jan Blachowicz 55, Anthony Smith 18, so significant there. Santos 60, 48, 47. Now, if we look at Alex Pereira, and I haven't done this before, but he's landing 127 on Khalil Roundtree, 38 on Yuri, only 7 coming back. He shows good defense, and he's landing oftentimes in a fair bit more strikes than everyone else, unless he knocks guys out, which he does often. So even in these fights that he's knocking them out, he's landing more punches than I think Magomed Ankalaev is used to. So for that reason, sheer volume, and Ankalaev gets hit, dude, I do feel like it's only a matter of time,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right, well, you want to put a ball on this thing?
All right. You first.
Rundown. All right, so starting with the prelim notables, I'm going with Bruno Ferreira over Armen Petrosyan. and Curtis Blaydes over. Help me out with that guy's name again one more time, Tom.
Rizvan Kuniev.
Rizvan Kuvayev. Okay. Then I'm going with Mauricio Ruffy over Bobby Green. Iasmin Lucindo over Amanda Lemos. Ignacia Bahamondes over Jalen Turner. Justin Gaethje over Rafael Fiziev. And Alex Pereira over Magomed Ankalaev. What do you got?
On the prelims, I am going with Bruno Ferreira over Armen Petrosyan. I am going with Rizvan Kuniev over, just kidding, Curtis Blaydes over Rizvan Kuniev. Main card, I'm going Mauricio Ruffy, Iasmin Lucindo. Oh, this fight is so close. I don't know. Something in me wants to take Jalen Turner, but I'm going to go Bahamondes to get the W. Give me Fiziev just to be a contrarian, and shit, anything can happen, especially when I feel like a lot of the stars are aligning for Gaethje. And I'm going with Alex Pereira to get the one done over Magomed Ankalaev and still.
All right, nice. Thanks for a fun episode. I'm really looking forward to this card. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think of the picks, what your favorite picks this week are. And subscribing really helps us out. Spotify, X, at Pickin' Keith, at Pickin' Fights Tom, and at _Pickin' Winners as well. Am I missing anything?
No, sounds good to me, man. Can't wait for UFC 13 this weekend. It's going to be good.
We're excited.
Oh, yeah.